Hi, my name is Amber, and this is my August wrap-up. As you can probably tell, my bookshelves look a little different behind me, and I do have a reorganization video coming up soon, but for now, let's just get into the wrap-up. The first 3 books that I read this month were the entire Summer I Turned Pretty trilogy by Jenny Han. I decided to read these a little bit before summer ended just because I wanted to be in that mindset when I read these. I've heard a lot of good things about them, but I ended up just kind of being about it. They were okay. The characters were kind of whiny and irritating, and there were just moments where I was going, what are you doing? Stop. But I gave the first book 3 stars and the last 2 books 4 stars. It was just kind of okay. The next book that I read this month was Harry Potter and the Cursed Child. I do have a book talk for this, so if you'd like to watch that, I will link it down below, but I ended up giving it a 3.5 stars. The next book that I read this month was Everland by Wendy Spinell. I'm probably saying her name wrong. I'm pretty sure I'm 100% saying her name wrong. This book is a Peter Pan retelling. It is about a world where a virus has taken over and killed all the adults. The kids are taking a little while longer to contract it, so they're kind of banding together and having to figure out a way to survive. It's a very interesting steampunk-esque story. There's a lot of nods to Peter Pan, so you definitely feel that throughout, but it is definitely a separate story in itself. I really did thoroughly enjoy this. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars, and I cannot wait for the sequel. The next book that I read this month was Ruined by Amy Tintera. This is definitely one of my favorites this month. I gave it 5 out of 5 stars. This is a story about a girl who has to take the place of a princess betrothed and get to know him and his kingdom and find a way in so that she can take her revenge and take over the kingdom. It's a very interesting story. It's very fun. There's some romance. There's lots of action. It was really entertaining and kind of dark in some spots. So I really enjoyed it, and I can't wait for the next books in the series. I need them now. The next book that I read this month was The Crown's Game by Evelyn Skye. This book is about 2 enchanters who have to fight to the death to get their place in the kingdom and be part of the king's garden way. It's a really interesting story. There's really pretty and interesting magic, a little bit of romance, but it was just kind of missing something for me. I honestly think it might have just been the time that I was reading it. I just couldn't get into it. It took me forever just to get midway through this book, but I ended up really enjoying it. I will pick up the sequel when that comes out, but I gave it 3 out of 5 stars. The last book that I read this month was The Flame Never Dies by Rachel Vincent. This is the second and last book in the Stars Never Rise duology. I read the first book last year and loved it. I gave it 5 stars, and I ended up giving this 5 stars as well. I absolutely adore this duology. It's very dark. There's demon possession, and you have to find souls when a baby is born or else they die. It's very dark, and it kind of reminds me a little bit of Angel Fall. I don't want to talk too much about what this one is about just because of the fact that it is the sequel, and I don't want to spoil anything if somebody hasn't read the first book, but I really enjoyed the series. I think the only thing that was missing for me out of the second book was I wanted more relationship and scenes between Finn and Nina, but that might have just been me. I like a lot of romance in my books, so that just was kind of missing a little bit for me, but it made no difference to the story. You still really enjoy it, and it's very action-packed and dark, and it's crazy. And the only other problem that I had was the fact that this isn't matte like the first book. This is shiny. This is upsetting. And here's the dog, so of course we're at the end of the video. I hope you guys enjoyed, and I'll see you guys next time.